everybody. I hope you are fine wherever you are. This is your standpoint once again, and I'm very, very happy. I'm over the moon today. I'm with my co-host as usual.
Edna.
She's Edna Dushime. You can see her.
They already know me, by the way.
They already know
Yes.
you.
Anyways, guys, welcome to the Standpoint. We really appreciate you. Thank you, guys, for tuning in for another program. This is the Standpoint, and for today's topic, what's our today's topic?
Before we
jump to the topic.
Yeah,
Let's
sure.
first of all welcome our guests, right?
Yeah.
So in this house we have a psychologist and a guest. I mean,
Yeah.
someone common. Somebody, yeah.
It's an honor, of course, to have them, and maybe they can
Introduce
You know.
themselves.
Hi, my name is Ori Kanayugen Hore. I'm a psychologist and I'm very passionate about mental health and all those kind of stuff related.
Right.
Oh,
Welcome to the
awesome.
Standpoint.
Thank you.
Yes, and on this side we have
My name is Lee Elo, so I'm so happy to be here.
to be part of this program, right?
thank you.
We're also happy to have you here, so welcome. Today, guys, we are going to be talking about adolescence. Yes, that in between childhood and adulthood. So we normally gonna talk about the way teens act, the reasons why, and also how they should be treated, especially by the parents, the neighborhood, and everything, right?
Yeah, sure. That's true, because sometimes we do see teenagers, they do have what you call maybe contempt for authorities. Sometimes they have kind of disrespect, behaviors toward their parents. Sometimes they tend to lie to their teachers. Sometimes you find they are not really, behaving accordingly. So
Yeah, they have some kind of characters that they adopt once they start that specific period of time. But I think there are reasons behind, right? And that's what we're gonna find out
Yeah,
today.
sure.
So
Okay.
when we say adolescence, Ori, what do you understand by that as a psychologist?
Well, they say that adolescence is a transitional period where an individual passes from childhood to adulthood, and it's a very sensitive period, both for the parents and for the individual, for the kid, for the boy or for the girl, because sometimes we think that it's a sensitive period for the parents, but we forget also that it is a very sensitive period for that same person who is going through that transition.
But maybe
So-
parents are more affected than no, I think the kids are more
Not
affected.
necessary, because there is a change of hormones, there is a lot of things that are happening inside that body that is turning into adulthood. So I would rather say that it is more sensitive to that kid, more it is to the parents.
Is it maybe sensitive because of the human development they are maybe experiencing in that time period?
Because of what they are experiencing in that moment, going from what is happening in their physical bodies and what is happening in their mental structure, all kind of stuff. It's very sensitive for them. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So, Lee, what do you understand by adolescence?
According to me, first of all, teenagers era is a period where there is a start point because it's a key is the first key to be in the youth. Just I say in the generation or the era to be called like a young a youth. Just how can I say? In this period, a person we see people from the age of 13 to 19 in this period, and in this period there are some biological transformations because the body person is growing so there are some appearances like some can get some birds and breast for girls. So in this era people start to interact with the world differently, comparing to
the others,
to the childhood.
to the child.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I've read somewhere that researchers say adolescence is from 10 to 19. Do you really think when you are 10 you have already started?
Well, like, yes, of course, depends upon the researchers and the persons or the people or the organizations who did that. But if you try even yourself to see the word teenage, it's not like, for example, because from 10, you start, there's 10, 11, 12.
It's in that span of time, yeah.
Yeah, I see. It does. You see, it starts from 13. You see,
13 to 19.
13 to 19, as he said, because you say because there's from 11, 12. You see, there's no teen. But when you start 13, there's 13 till 19.
Yeah, but
Well, that would be a little bit different from what I know, because it's going to be a little bit to differ from what you guys are saying. Other searches have proven that the teenage, until you are 25, you still have a teenage brain. Yeah.
I think that depends on people.
No, that's why I say that depends upon the one who did research and the research itself. But if you try to
It
see,
depends on the person as well.
It depends on what?
On the person as well. Like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It does.
but also
So, but when we try to analyze generally, because even the word is teenagers, we start to account from 13 till 19, because this has been made like a base, because they are the ages where there is a word teen which can come, to make something, to make studies easier when we want to study about youth, young generation, to study to make studies on young generations. So saying that these how can I say it?
you're still cooking your brain, so we're gonna get back to you again. Let's get to the core of the topic. Go straight to the first question. What are the biggest or what are the top problems that teens or teenagers face in their daily life? Okay, let's start from maybe the psychologist, or maybe ladies first. She's gonna answer
Looks like
the question.
Edna has something to say.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah.
I was trying to think about that, but I think most of the challenges they face is maybe bullies, right? Because of the way they are, like the physical features, their body and everything. There's that aspect of not being understood, right? Because they feel like no one understands them. When you say something, in their, let me say, in their mind, they're like, I'm the one who's right, the kid himself. But according to the parent or the person who's maybe older than the kid is like, no, you're not right, you should take this way, you should not take this one. And there's that misunderstanding that they face in their daily life. For me, I think those are maybe the biggest challenges they face in their daily life. I don't know if maybe the psychologist or if Lee has something
Bullies and not being understood. All right. Okay, maybe you're gonna get some more.
Well, me, I would go, maybe it's a little bit in alignment with what she said. I would go with identity crisis, sort of who I am, who am I, what do I want? That's why we have a lot of peer pressure among the teenagers, because it's hard for them to define themselves. So it's easy for them to be influenced or taken into other behaviors. So identity crisis, which can also be connected to a lack of self-confidence, depending on how the person grew up and how the person was encouraged in sort of things. The third thing I would say is hormonal imbalance or mood swings. We've seen a lot among the girls when
there are mood swings, but they don't even like to know why they get so moody.
Yeah, because of the hormones. Hormones are there to regulate emotions, and when during that age or that period, it's not obvious for them to manage their emotions. So that's why they get moody. Because when you are an adult, it's easy to regulate. Your brain is already mature, you can regulate those moods. But when they're still teenagers, they struggle in that area. So we have a identity crisis, lack of self-confidence, and emotional issues, if I can say.
Yeah. Lee, do you have something to add?
Adolescents sometimes they need an open talk with the adults. So they are contradicted to their hobbies, because we find in a society parents told to the teenagers, don't do that, don't go with these friends. So once they start to limit them, they start to be just some problems in families, and see how some others adopt some bad behaviors of taking drugs and some things like that. And also you can find some of them are affected to the groups of people they hang out with.
Yeah, to influence, right?
Yeah, the influence with some bad friends, and a lot of them miss even their future because of friends, bad friends.
Yeah, by the way, why do you think that they are? We usually hear that they are easily influenced teenagers. What are the reasons?
Yeah. First of all, teenagers is they are just they it's the first step is the first step of interacting really with the world, being like you as a person who can guide yourself. Because if you try to analyze a little teenager, you see, he wants to be independent. He doesn't want to depend on someone else. So he starts to face the problems by himself, by not being together with the other one. So that's why teenagers,
they are easily influenced.
Yeah,
right?
they are easily influenced because they are even so hot. They are so hot. When you tell them something, he's ready to get in action.
Impulsions, I think.
I think the reason why they are easily influenced is because there is a need to belong. That is already there. They need to belong to a certain group of people, because they will look at their homies and be like, oh, these guys are hanging out, so me, I'm being left alone, I'm isolated. So to fit in that group, I need to easily to yield to the influences or the advances they are trying to make. That's why there is a need to belong, that affects them. It is already in them, so they need to fit in. That's why most of the time they are easily influenced.
I think it's because they are no longer kids, and they are not yet adults. So they're in that.
They are stuck somewhere.
Yeah, they're stuck
between.
somewhere, but they don't know where they really belong.
And what I can also add on to your question is that sometimes you find they are more emotional than they are in terms of rationality. They don't think so much.
Definitely.
So it's really hard for them to take decisions up, base themselves to maybe to the force or to, to the brain. So they base themselves on the emotions most of the time. So that's why you find, as he was saying, they don't even, have a place where they belong. So they want to have people can accept them and bring them in their.
And I think that has something to do with the fact that they are, they have those, their hormones are still, they are still being put in places, like they are not yet regulated as they should. Maybe.
Yeah, sure, because the brain is still growing, and you see, so in that, and again there is what we call maybe is a window to sensitivity. So
they are very sensitive.
So they are so sensitive, and you find sometimes they are not even, good at, self-control. So it's really hard for them to control themselves. So that's why you find they are easily influenced. I think we can shift to another question. So sometimes we see teens, they are, as we're saying, they are so isolated. They don't want to, they just want to stay alone, by themselves. They don't want people to talk to others. They don't want even sometimes to share their secrets. They want to to reveal the things to their parents. Sometimes you find they don't want even to ask, if they have an issue, if they have a question, they keep it for themselves. So what are the ways for the parents or for the neighbors or for the siblings to approach them, try to help them,
to treat them,
to treat the issues that they have?
Well, I wouldn't agree with that by saying that teenagers don't like to talk to adults. I've been working with teenagers for a certain time now.
Maybe it's because you're a psychologist, so you understand them.
Not necessary. Not necessary. They are very open to me, and we have discussions, very deep discussions, and they are very interesting people and lovely people. I think the reason why sometimes they are very isolated is that because there is that kind of conflict between the adult perspective of life is very different from the teenager's perspective of life. So I would later say to the adults to try to understand, to try fitting into their mindset. As in, for example, some of the topics you can find a teenager is, sometimes when an adult is addressing a teenager, it's always in a judgmental way. They most of the time intervene when it's time to correct, to judge, or to punish. So it's understandable that we never want to talk to you because obviously you are judging them. So start by getting to be in their perspective, have a conversation concerning the things they like. If it is social media, talk to them concerning social media. If it is technology, politics, entertainment, whatever, try to fit into their passionate topics instead of just approaching them when it's time to correct or to judge, and that's obviously will create a block.
Yeah, but what if they're into something that may ruin their lives in some kind of way? Like what if they're in drugs or some kind of
trust me, if they are in something bad, they do know it. They know they're into something bad. Sometimes it might not be obvious. Okay, you can be behaving a certain way and it's not obvious that behavior is bad. In that case, don't judge, just approach the person. Have a normal conversation. Talk to them and try to be patient, I would say. Yeah.
Interact without really being judgmental, right?
So I know Lee has young brothers and maybe a sister. So also over some few years, some few past years, you've been in that period. I do believe you are somehow elder than you. So what are the ways can somebody approach, teenagers or adolescents to make them feel comfortable in their skin?
So I think people, adults, can approach adolescents to saying what they like. For example, as you said, some adolescents, they isolate themselves. You find when they isolate, they don't want to talk to anybody else. It doesn't mean that they don't have something. Maybe there is something that they have they are passionate about. For example, I remember there were some teenager that I know from a book who used to read a lot of books. He used to isolate himself from the real world to go further from the books and reading and doing his own things. So in this case, to approach this one, you have to know what's really the fact, and after approach him and try to discuss with him the things which interest him, so that he can get you well. When you want, and in that case, you can even make a way for him to his best education and everything in his life gets well to him.
So that's how they should be treated.
Yeah.
I think it aligns with what I said earlier. They need to be understood. Seriously, yeah. You need to fit in their world, in their mindset, the way they think, so that you can understand them.
And to try to use the words or the things they love.
There is this quote that I like. It says the best way to change a habit is to replace it with another. So sometimes we tell them this is wrong. Yeah, it is wrong, but give me another alternative. Let's say you replace the light, you replace it with darkness. So the best way to change a habit is to replace it with another. If you notice something wrong, offer them something better. Don't just leave them there telling them it is wrong. Give them something to replace that thing with. It might take time, but I'm pretty sure if you are patient and persevering, that positive habit will implement itself.
Wow, that's great. So sometimes we see like young people or those teenagers, sometimes you find they are in depression, sometimes you find that's why they even get addicted to drugs. Sometimes you find that even those who suicide themselves. So I always wonder why a person can get to that point until he wants even to put an end to his life or to her life.
To suicide.
Yeah, imagine. Whereas these people, they are potential power. In that young age, you still have the power to help your community, to help your country, to help your family, even the world, the entire world. So what can other people, or even those teenagers themselves, what can they do so as they be helping others instead of thinking in a negative way of
Well, that's a very difficult question to answer, because reasons that pushes someone to self-hurt himself or commit suicide are very different. Okay, you say that most teenagers tend to commit suicide. I don't believe that. I don't believe that in terms of what. Yeah, they might be depressive or might be, because most of the mental issues start to appear at the age of teenagers. But I do know also there are some adults who end up committing suicide. So it's a very difficult to answer what are the reasons behind someone committing suicide. So on my behalf, I don't know what I can answer to that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But how can they contribute to the world?
How can they contribute to the world? Actually, there is a stereotype that we all have, thinking that teenagehood is best, as in you guys are good, are very strong.
They are. That's a fact. I mean, that's a period of time
we tend to think that it's a very chilling period.
Wow.
As in, everything is relaxing and very beautiful. I understand that side, but we must also understand that there are some troubles they are going through. Okay, how can they... teenage youth is a place of curiosity, creativity, and exploring. What I would rather say is for the adults, open doors to explore, for the teenagers to explore more into positive stuff.
Maybe they should explore together,
Yeah.
To guide
have
them
those
in that
groups,
kind of...
guide them. If it is sports, if it is science, if it is designing, if it is anything. But open those doors for these teenagers to explore more into positive fields instead of just taking it for granted as in teenage youth is a chilling time.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Firstly, teenagers, I can say this simple sentence: teenagers are the power of the country, of course, or the power of the society. Because I say it because they are energetic more than the elder, because they can even be in activities of volunteering, like planting trees, doing some social activities in little ones, helping in, for example, visiting some elder men who are lying in the hospitals. These are small jobs that teenagers can be working for free. Yeah, that's why it's a free energy.
Yeah, as
That
they engage in those kind of social activities.
And most of the clubs, free clubs, they are made up with teenagers, because there are people who are energetic, who have free time to participate in different things.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. They're energetic, but they need someone to guide them. They need someone to introduce them to those kind of things that may help in that revolution. Like social activities, as Lee said, they need them together. Don't tell a teen, like, instead of going to drink alcohol or even use drugs, why don't you go read books, or why don't you go and start cleaning maybe the roads or anything. If you don't introduce him to those kind of things, he won't really know the best ways to do that. So they just need guidance without really being judgmental. That's my take on that.
Yeah, sure. That's what he has been saying. Sometimes we find, we elders or we parents, sometimes we are rebuking them. We are always being judgmental. We don't want to listen to them. So what we do lack, is we who are supposed to connect them to the world, sometimes we find ourselves, we don't have this word that we call empathy. We don't want to put ourselves in their shoes.
Yeah, true.
So sometimes before we put somebody on the right path, we better have to, to see who we are exactly and what are we doing for him to understand what we want to show him. So that's what I think.
And sometimes we leave them by themselves, as in you'll find out it's a group of teenagers, they are co-socializing, as in there is no someone with a brighter mind or more logical mind. It's just a group of teenagers.
To help them.
What can you expect to come from that?
That's true.
Yeah,
they really need guidance. They need guidance, and parents are the best people to guide them, because they're the ones that they spend more time with. And we usually find that the ones who actually judge them, if we don't go outside, like the home, like the house. Home is the first place whereby they should get that guidance and that introduction to things that are actually helpful.
Yeah, sure. And he said something very crucial, that teenagers are those people always willing to be curious. So it's from that they start testing things. They start experiencing.
Most of them, they will tell you, I started drugs by curiosity. I started pornography by curiosity.
By curiosity, that's true.
And
that's maybe because someone told them, this is not right, you should not do that. You're actually, how can I say, you're actually pushing that teen to actually go and find out what's wrong with that. Why are you telling me not to do that? What's wrong with that? Anyways,
okay,
I think we're running out of time.
I guess it was so fine to the point that I don't want even to put an end to this. So please, you can do it on my behalf. Please.
But I think also this would have been interesting if we had a teenager here. Maybe if there is another topic like this, to have a teenager to have that perspective on this platform.
Yeah, sure. Of course, I think this is not our last program relating to this topic. I think we shall have many. That
would be interesting to have that kind of perspective.
If you have like teenagers around here. So anyways, guys, I'm gonna thank you for coming here and be with us in this program. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
And thank you to Ori.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Yes. So thank you. also Patrick.
Thank you.
Anyways, guys, so thank you guys for watching us. I hope you liked this program, and if you want to participate in this program, please say it in the comments. So stay tuned for the next one. Bye bye.